Folks at home, welcome back to the 5-acre pond build, and if you missed the previous videos in this series, I'll put a link down in the description below. So we're going to watch a quick time lapse of the pond filling up, and it's taken about 2 months to fill up. It's a 5-acre pond and 12 feet at the deepest part, and it holds roughly 10 million gallons of water. And we've had to pump most of the water in from our underground well because we haven't had much rain lately. So the last thing we have to do before adding fish is make sure that the pond is going to hold water and doesn't have any leaks. And it is normal for new ponds to bounce and fluctuate a little bit because all of that clay is saturating and soaking some of the water up. So it's time to turn off the well and see how the pond holds up. And we have one other area of the pond dam that could potentially be a problem. So if you look past the standpipe, you'll notice on the bank there's a little bit of a dip in the dam. And after talking to the pond builder, it looks like some of the clay and the core settled in a little bit. And so we have a low spot right there in the dam. And this could cause a big problem in the future because if water ever makes it over the dam, it could wash the entire pond out and drain everything. So we got 2 projects this week. The first one is to fix that area. So I got a load of clay delivered and also a load of topsoil. We'll put a nice layer of clay down and then cover it with topsoil so we can still grow grass. And then speaking of grass, the next project is to hydroseed the entire dam. And you can see here from the overhead view, it's been a challenge to get grass to grow on the slopes, because we're either getting heavy rain or no rain at all, and it's washed a lot of the seed out. So hydroseeding should be a perfect application. If you're not familiar with it, they add the seeds into this sticky mulch and then spray it or blow it, and it holds really well on any type of vertical slopes. Now the backside of the dam is held up pretty good for the most part, but you can see a lot of that grass that we planted has died off, and we hadn't got the winter rye established right here. That's why we're going to come in and hydroseed. But we do have a couple areas of erosion like that, so we're going to come through with a skid steer and level all this off before we hydroseed, and hopefully that'll prevent any more erosion in the future. So we used my tractor to haul the clay over, and then we used his skid steer to level everything out. And the company we hired for hydroseeding is called Burns Environmental. I'd highly recommend them. They did a great job for us. And you can see here we're not going to use a roller to compact the clay like we did with the rest of the pond. Hopefully water's never going to make it up this high, but also you have very little water pressure at the top part of the dam. All that pressure's at the very bottom, and that's where you need that really good compacted clay. And then the next thing we wanted to do is knock down all of that old brown top millet, because anytime you put seed out, if you have that soil contact, you have a lot better chances of it growing. So we also went through and worked on those eroded spots and added some dirt in those areas to make everything nice and slick. So one of the cool parts was watching them load up their water truck and mix all their seeds. So for our pond dam, they're using Bahia grass, Bermuda grass, fescue, winter ryegrass, and that should keep grass growing on the dam all year long. But they didn't just mix the seeds in, they also put in fertilizer, and they mixed all of that in with this green mulch material and then also a tackifier. And then they added 1,200 gallons of water, and that only treats 1/4 of an acre. So we're going to be using a lot of water today. And then now it's time for the fun part. Let's watch the little highlight. So we finished up the road work, we got all the topsoil added, and then I got them to spray on top of that. And then they finished up the rest of the dam, and they got all of this work done in one day. And I'll keep you guys posted on if we have any seed sprouting and how successful this was in the next couple of videos. But you remember how earlier in the video I said I was going to turn the well off to see if we had any leaks? Unfortunately, we have a leak somewhere. So this video shows what the water levels look like on the day that I turned the well off. And you can see right up there in the corner of the pond, the water had almost made it up there to the flexomats. And this is a clip from 10 days later, and you can see a lot of the structure that I put in the pond was starting to show again. And then also in the corner of the pond, look how far it is away from the mats. And then here's a look at the standpipe, and I'm probably going to get a ruler or some kind of measuring tape so I can measure how much water is leaking each day. Alright folks, some good news. I think I finally found the leak in the dam. So I was flying the drone over and I noticed the sparkling water down here on the ground. We finally got a good sunny day. You can see all that water down there, and it doesn't appear to be coming out of the dam itself. I think it's either going down through a spot right there and then just seeping back up here, or maybe somewhere around that core trench area may have a leak in that area. But I definitely think that it's right here in this area, because this entire area right here has standing water on it. So I'm going to keep watching this particular area. Man, who knew this hydroseeding was going to be so beneficial? So we've had a couple of days of bright sunshine, and you can see the sun came out and dried all that mulch and tacked out. But guess what else it also did? It showed me where the pond was leaking. So I'm back here on the back side of the dam, and right here in a couple of spots I have standing water. You can see right here, it's almost like a little stream. So you can see there's two major spots where we're having a leak on the back side of the dam, and it may have taken me a long time to find these had we not hydroseeded and then had that sun pop out and dry out all the areas except for where the pond was leaking. So this makes it a lot easier. So the next step is we'll go get the polymer and add it probably in the next video. And now, since I know where the leak is at, I can use a heavier application right here in this area along the dam, and I won't have to treat the entire pond. So even though it's unfortunate the pond has a leak, that's still really good news that I found out exactly where it's at. And for those of you that haven't heard about polymers, I'll explain a lot more about it in the next video, but it's basically a sealant that you apply in the pond, and then as it's leaking out, it helps seal the pond off. Alright folks, time to do a little feeding experiment out at the pond. So I had some guys telling me that deer love roasted soybeans, and I've never fed them that out here, but I think I'm going to do a little trial with it. And I've always fed the deer apple flavored corn, and guys, if you could only smell what it smells like right now, I bet you these deer can smell that from miles away. But then they also had this other apple flavored corn, so I decided to give it a shot too. So I'm going to pour 3 piles out. This I know for a fact works. We'll see if they like the roasted soybeans, and then compare it to just another brand of apple corn. So I'm going to make 3 piles right here, and then we'll also throw a little bit in the water for the ducks, and we'll monitor it on the cameras tonight. Alright, the first to show up are a few young bucks. So the pile on the far left is the one that I've used for years, and I've never seen deer react to anything else like they do to it. I honestly think that's one of the reasons that fawn that I call Spot hangs around and will walk up to me, because he knows I'm the one that's putting out the apple corn. And I can see some deer activity up there in the sorghum, and it looks like the ladies are coming over to check it out. They definitely think something's suspicious, because there's way too much corn and soybeans out here, and I don't think I fooled them. They said we're out of here. And everything seems to be going kind of like I expected it. Throughout the night, most of the deer are hitting the apple corn pile first. And we got some turf wars going on here. But it looks like they decided to make up and eat some corn together. And when the lights go out, they all come out. I never knew how many deer hung out around farms until we bought this peanut farm. That is what you call a herd of deer. There's too much going on to even see which pile they're eating out of. Here's where things start getting interesting. So it looks like the deer are kind of getting spooked. And usually that means there's a coyote around. And yep, there he is. He showed up. So this is a really cool video and one of the most interesting nighttime shots I've ever seen. If you can see up there in the top right of the sorghum, a coyote sneaking his way out towards the field. And there's 2 rabbits right at the edge of the sorghum, and there's a doe and 2 fawns down near the pond. So let's sit back and watch how this unfolds. Man, that was wild. But you gotta love seeing that. That coyote was actually so scared of the mama that she was able to run him off, and the 2 fawns are safe. And it looks like another coyote showed up, and she is still pushing them back away from her babies. Gotta love it. And you can't have a party at night without Al Capone showing up. And it looks like we got one of the bucks peeing in the background, and that's probably gonna start a fight. Back the next morning to check out the corn piles, and this is about as good of a test as you could do. This was apple corn, soybean and corn mixed, and this is the apple corn I've been using for years. They literally ate the dirt that was around it. So this one got hit, about half of it's gone, and this pile is almost untouched. And there's nothing wrong with the corn. I mean, it's not molded or anything, it's still good corn, but that just goes to show you how much flavor matters to deer. Man, that's unbelievable. I've been using this corn for years. If you get this stuff, they will come from miles away to eat it. Probably gonna keep up with the roasted soybeans because it has a lot more protein in it and it's a lot better for the deer. But if you guys want me to test any other deer attractants out here, leave a comment down below. Now it's time to feed Mr. Moby. Alright folks, that is going to wrap up this video. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. Got a lot of interesting things going on with the pond. I hope to show you all how to seal a leaking pond in the next video, and then get some fish added into it shortly after that. Hope you all had a great Christmas, and we wish you all a happy new year. We got a lot of cool projects coming up in 2022, and can't wait to share them all with you. Hope you all enjoyed this video, and we will see you all next time.